Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts, Hearts Home family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Patreon family as well, of course. And we want to, again, thank you guys for your support. Couldn't do it without you guys.
Thank you so much to Heidi and Jason.
Thank you guys so much. We have said this so many times through the thousands of videos that we've done, and so many others have echoed these words. As is the microcosm, so the macrocosm. As is the atom, so the universe. As is the human mind, so the cosmic mind. And we are all truly living inside the mind of God, to speak. And yet God is living inside us as well when we're talking about the creative force of everything, the source of all.
That's right. You know, it's just something I think once people understand it, it kind of makes life easier when you understand spirituality is not necessarily to separate us from our 3D reality, but more to help us understand our 3D reality and help those things work together.
Yeah, again, this is a temporary experience for learning, for growth. And ultimately, we are consciousness itself manifesting our reality from the fabric that is the all.
Indeed.
And so, it's just something that is understood in many circles on a deep level, but unfortunately is not understood by the majority on the planet. And here we see a little tweet. It turns out that the vacuum of space is not as empty as we once thought. In fact, it's not even a vacuum. And we've, again, shared that space is really, it's more like an ocean, a great cosmic ocean, so to speak. The water in our oceans is more dense than the ocean of space, but I think we would be well served thinking it more in terms of a cosmic ocean.
I want to say it's probably even, it's thicker than fog, not as thick as water, but it is an essence that we don't get to experience here.
And we use that as above, so below, as within, so without. Think again of the entire earth itself as one cell. And what do cells have? Cells have fluid within, and then there's fluid in the body surrounding the cells. It's just that simple. All we have to do is just use that one rule. Does it fit in this paradigm? If it does fit, then we're probably heading in the right direction.
Indeed.
So here we have, it goes on, it says, instead it's teeming with activity at the quantum level, giving rise to a phenomenon known as quantum foam. This article explores the concept of quantum foam, its significance and implications for our understanding of the universe. And so, what hit me right away is like when you see this energy pattern, you might see black and purple and maybe some shades of gray, maybe a little bit of white here and there. But I asked Cindy because I honestly don't know. When it's pitch black out, it's not that I don't see anything. I see energy. And that's all I know is that I see energy. In fact, sometimes when it's really, really dark out, it doesn't seem dark to me. And it's hard for me to remember exactly when that happened, other than when I was, I'd say around 21, 22. It was right when my first child was being born that I noticed I could see the energy all around me in broad daylight. And that carried over into night. And, a dark room never seems dark to me. I always see colors and energy patterns in the darkness, and I always see it everywhere, every moment of the day. Kind of like this. And then when we call on the guides, I can see the guides manifesting as shapes within these energy patterns. And whether we believe in quantum theory or not, because again, nothing that we're given by science is necessarily accurate from the standpoint that they always have their own agenda going on behind the scenes. But absolutely, you will get people that say space is fake, and they'll leave it at that because I don't know if they have a clue beyond that. They just know there's something wrong with the concept of space being a vacuum. And I wish they would extrapolate on that a little bit instead of just saying space is fake. And what do you perceive? Is there nothingness out there? Is there somethingness out there? What do you make of it? And, that's something that we should each be maybe spending a little time meditating on. One of my practices, too, when I get deep into that meditative state is to move out into space. And what do I perceive? Well, this article says, as it turns out, the vacuum of space is not as empty as we once thought. Instead, it's teeming with activity at the quantum level, giving rise to a phenomenon known as quantum foam. This article will explore the concept of quantum foam, its significance, and the implications for our understanding of the universe. It also is referred to as space-time foam. It's a term coined by physicist John Wheeler to describe the microscopic fluctuations that occur within the fabric of space-time. These fluctuations are a result of the inherent uncertainty of quantum mechanics, causing the vacuum to constantly churn with virtual particles and energy fluctuations. Oh my. It's like the wisdom that's contained in so much of the Eastern traditions explains all this so clearly. Also, in the Western mystery tradition, the Kabbalah, Hermeticism, they're in agreement, but there's just different terms that are used. So, again, quantum foam and churning. Oh, let me hand off to Cindy as I want to bring something up.
Yes, quantum foam. Quantum foam, it's something that's always there. It's nice when the scientists throw us a bone and say, "Oh yeah, there's this stuff," but then we know that it's been there all along. Seeing that fuzzy stuff in the dark, sometimes it's just, if you see something all of your life, you don't really think to ask other people, is that what you see? Because you just assume maybe that's I don't know, it might be the selfish part of me. But I just assumed that everyone else saw it too and didn't think to pick it out until you see something as what you see all the time. It's like, oh, okay, well, I understand that now. And now, go to other people. And also, I believe that if people if they take the time to take some deep breaths and look, I feel many, many, many people will see the same type of fuzzy stuff in the air, especially when you're going through an awakening. You start to see it a little more clearly, like these little silver things that look like atoms. They carry the shape of an atom. I was kind of fascinated with that because that was one of the other things that came to me during my awakening, is I get to see these little shapes now. But it's there for all of us, and that's the one thing I don't want to lose sight of, is we all have this ability to see if we want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, today after doing our video, Cindy was on the bike doing some EWAT therapy, getting some exercise and some oxygen. I was doing some qigong and resistance work, and just overall taking care of ourselves, which everybody should be doing. And prioritizing, again, this is your temple. Your body is your temple. Take care of it, because, again, the more you can keep it healthy and get it to a point of healthiness, the higher you can soar spiritually, and the clearer you'll be able to think as well. Although, there are absolutely people that can find clarity even without a healthy body. I just want to point that out too. But one thing that really sticks out is that we are so much more than what we can conceive of. Part of that is a permanent, a purposeful, I should say, not permanent, as there's nothing that's permanent. except for change. Change is the one constant that we have. As Rama wants to go play a second round the ball, that's all he has going on. So if you hear whining in the background, that's Rama. We are in this constant state of flux, and we could change our situation at any time. We always can change, and I do think that it feels like we can change timelines, and I think people can change so many things in their lives at any particular moment that you truly intend to, with clarity and with true intensity of feelings, because the emotions are so important in manifesting. Now, going back to the article, quantum foam, as they call it, plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding of the universe at its most fundamental level. Some key aspects of its influence include vacuum energy. Constant fluctuations within quantum foam give rise to vacuum energy, a form of zero-point energy that exists even in the absence of matter. This energy has significant implications for our understanding of cosmology and expansion of the universe. Virtual particles. Quantum foam allows for spontaneous creation and annihilation of virtual particles, which are short-lived and cannot be directly observed. These particles can have measurable effects on the physical world, such as contributing to the Casimir effect, a force experienced between closely spaced objects. And quantum gravity. The study of quantum foam may eventually lead to a unified theory of quantum gravity, which would reconcile the seemingly incompatible theories of general relativity and quantum mechanics. Well, again, we understand the control system doesn't want us understanding everything, and this is where I turn to more of the mystery traditions or the Eastern wisdom, because instead of calling things quantum foam, we could simply call them the ether. And we do know there is many different levels to our body. We are really multidimensional beings. Our chakras, in fact, are gateways of consciousness. And it's often said that each of the main 7 chakras, because there are actually hundreds, if not thousands of chakras inside the body, which are whirling vortices that are pulling in energy all the time. They are gateways of consciousness, and each one is said to be ruled by a different deity, quote unquote. And Ganesha rules the Moola, the root chakra. The universe is the creation of the mind. Now, that doesn't mean the brain, because the mind is not limited to the brain. Universe exists inside the mind as the flower exists inside the seed. Yes, absolutely. So many people have had near death or been dead for a while and been revived, and they see themselves outside of the body because that's the natural state of things. And if we were gifted with Cindy's vision, you would see the spirit leaving the body. Sometimes we can. Sometimes it's even been caught again in photos of the energy, the true self. Ultimately, we are pure consciousness. That is what we are. I was going to share that when I'm doing Qigong and I'm gathering the life force from the ether around me, I'm actually pulling in with this intention, the life force into the body. And the guides have said this is one of the best practices we can do and develop is Qigong, which literally means energy work. And the intent of standing in a position where we are in perfect alignment with the earth, so the effects of gravity itself starts to pull the life force into our bodies, and then we augment that with our consciousness, and we coordinate that with our breathing, and we're building our Wei Qi field, and we will not get sick when everybody else around us is getting sick. Typically, as long as we don't abuse ourselves and do things to lower the amount of qi in our body, which can be done by many different things, and also just being around negative energies and unnatural frequencies can do that, and that's exactly what's going on at this time out there in the world. But she could see at the very fundamental level of the elemental kingdom these little things that look like silverfish that work on my joints, that work on the different areas in the body that need attention. And when we do Qigong, it gives them the opportunity to work unimpeded. We're actually helping them do their job because there are elemental beings that are assigned to maintain your body for you. This is their entire purpose.
We have to be very, very slow. You have to have that intention to hold still in certain positions, because when you do that, it creates an effect around the body, this energetic effect, which allows these little things to come out and work on you energetically. And each time they're always doing something slightly different. It just depends on what the body needs. And I see the same thing when he's doing mantras, depending on what he needs from that mantra, from that deity. I see similar or different results. You know, it just kind of depends. But I can see it, but it's always happening. It doesn't matter whether I see it or not. It's always happening. And I just want to really get that across to people, because I think a lot of people sit there and they stay in the stillness and they think that nothing is happening, but that couldn't be further from the truth. So much is happening. But at the same time, it's not about what happens while we spend this time with ourselves. It's about what it does when life happens, and how do we respond to that? Is our heart blood pressure going to go through the roof? Or are we going to be able to maintain ourselves? You know, how are we going to handle these things outside of ourselves that happen that we don't have any control over? I think that's the true test of spirituality. That's what it's for. It's to see how we respond to the universe, the things the universe comes and sends to us. But we can't find that peace inside of us unless we sit and spend the time with ourselves and allow these little critters to do their thing inside of our energy field and bring us to a place of peace and help slow us down in this world, because we came here for an experience. And boy, the universe is gonna show up. It's gonna give you an experience.
So when we go back to what we were reading about the churning, the churning, it takes me to this particular, you could view it as a parable, a myth, a legend, etc., etc. The churning of the ocean, right, is a story that explains how the gods finally defeated the demons and became immortal. The devas beat the asuras in this one legend. But, again, you could take a lot of these stories and look to it as, parables on a very, very high level of energetic forces. Centropy and atrophy, good and evil, yin and yang, the whole duality, because we are in a natural matrix that is all about duality. That's what gives it the impetus to have motion, or what appears to be motion. As again, all this going on is truly a play of the mind, of the great cosmic mind, of the one true consciousness that is in everything and pervades everything. So when we turn, if we look to that ocean of whatever it is out there, ultimately it's all consciousness. That's what's out there. Consciousness is the ultimate reality. It's not our bodies, even. It's not tables, it's not houses, it's not gold, it's not money, obviously. It's nothing that is of this material universe. In fact, the whole material universe at the core is an illusion of sorts. Ultimately, it is an illusion of sorts, but yet again, it is a very purposeful one. This is a learning experience. This is a great opportunity. And it's an opportunity that has been created by consciousness for the exploration of consciousness. So this story is known from the epic, the Mahabharata, one of the two greatest epics of India, along with the Ramayana. And, there's others as well, the Bhagavata, Purana. There's so many fabulous things to get deep into and to really ponder slowly and let them just sort of seep into you for understanding. Here you have a depiction of Vishnu, half human, half tortoise depiction. This is taken to be one of the avatars, but again, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's giving us a timeline of creation, and it's also just giving us some universal truths. A long time ago, the gods had been weakened when their most precious treasures were lost beneath the primordial ocean due to the great deluge. One of the most precious treasures included, for example, Amrita, which is the nectar of immortality. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune and wealth, and some of these names are tough. You just break them down slow. Uch, Hai, Shravas, the divine seven-headed horse. Kamadhenu, the first cow and mother of all other cows. Kalpavriksha, the wish-granting tree. Aravata, the elephant of Indra. It goes on, and it talks about also a deadly poison. But two of these treasures, the elixir of immortality and Lakshmi herself, was particularly important. They would enable the gods to conquer the demons who had taken over the universe successfully. It was essential to act quickly, so Vishnu, the preserver, god of the Hindu Trinity, advised the gods to churn the ocean and recover all the treasures. Vishnu knew the gods would be unable to do this alone, so he struck a deal with the demons. He promised them a share of the treasures, including the elixir of immortality, if they would help churn. The demons agreed to the deal. And we see Mount Mandara was a churning stick. Vishnu told the gods and the demons they should use Mount Mandara as a churning stick, and the giant king of the serpents, Vasuki, as the rope. Vasuki is a king of the Nagas, pops up in other mythologies as well. He also persuaded the demons to hold the snake's head, spitting furiously while the gods held the tail end. The serpent was then coiled around the mountain. Each side alternately pulled the rope and allowed it to relax, causing the mountain to rotate in the water. To regain the treasures, they worked very hard, and there were many problems they had to face. The demons, the asuras, were poisoned by the fumes emitted by Vasuki's breath that grew very hot, and the demons almost suffocated. Still, they continued their work by repeatedly pulling back and forth on the snake's body. The churning continued, but Mount Mandara began to sink into the soft sandbed of the ocean. At once, Lord Vishnu assumed the form of a turtle and held the mountain from sinking. Then he placed the mountain on his back to act as a foundation stone, thus allowing the churning to continue. Finally, several wonderful treasures sprung out from the ocean. Still before that happened, the deadly poison Hala Hala, Black Mass or Time Puzzle, appeared and began to threaten the very existence of all. Some versions of the story say that the Hala Hala came from Vasuki's mouth. It was crucial to remove it, as it could contaminate the Milky Ocean and destroy all creation. As you see a depiction right here. On the advice of Lord Vishnu, the gods approached Lord Shiva for help and protection. Shiva inhaled the poison in an act of self-sacrifice. It cost him much, but he successfully stopped the poison from spreading. The color of Lord Shiva's neck turned blue, so he is often called Nilakantha, the blue-throated one. Some sources of this incredible creation story say the churning of the ocean was a long process lasting thousands of years before any lost treasures emerged. Long-lost treasures appear. When the elixir of immortality finally rose to the surface, the demons rushed to grab it. Now it was Vishnu had to help. He assumed the form of Mohini, a beautiful woman who captivated all the demons. She changed the elixir for alcohol by sleight of hand and returned the precious liquid to the gods. Thus the Amrita was secured only for the gods. However, one of the cunning demons, Rahu, disguised as a god, finally managed to get a taste of Amrita. The sun and the moon warned Vishnu, who immediately severed Rahu's head, but the demon had already consumed some of the elixir to make him immortal. Ever since his head, known from myths as Rahu, and his corpse Ketu, become the sun and moon's most potent enemy. As a result, sun and moon eclipses occur because Rahu and Ketu swallow sun and moon when they come too close to each other. Soon the ocean revealed all other precious treasures, and amongst them was Lakshmi, a beautiful woman standing on a lotus flower. Seeing all the gods before her, she chose the god she felt most worthy of her, the great Vishnu, and they became inseparable. Thoughts?
I think this is just a really fun story because I've heard it in astrology talking about Rahu and the insatiableness of that energy that is within all of us. But it's a fun story. You know, you get to have a lot of characters in here, things that we don't see every day. And I think there is something like when we read things like this, part of our history, I think there's something that goes into our soul. I think there's soul growth that happens when we read these ancient stories.
Absolutely. You know, and what we see is, again, you could look at this as Lakshmi is the divine feminine. And so, you know, all of creation comes through the divine feminine. It's divine feminine that gives birth to the material universe. And Vishnu is the masculine counterpart to that in the manifested form of consciousness. And when they talk about Shiva is that which is not. So that's like the unmanifested form of the divine consciousness. And so it's like reaching back out into primordial thought to correct something that's going on in the physical universe. And Shiva is the one that you want to call on if you want to jump timelines. So if you want to really create massive change in your life, like if you're feeling very, very desperate for change, Om Namah Shivaya is thought to be one of the most powerful mantras that you could possibly do, because it's before creation. And it's about rewriting timelines in so many ways. When we look at the churning and the asuras and the devas both pulling on the snake, and the snake representing the kundalini energy, and you know, one side is the dark side of the kundalini energy. The kundalini energy is the creative energy, and the other side is the light side, the positive side. So, you know, it's easy, very easy to see this as our dual nature, the service to self, service to others. And, you know, again, what are you going to serve? Are you going to serve and put yourself in alignment with helping the greater whole? Or are you going to be like the power structure that's in place in the world and just try to better yourself at the expense of all others? So there's so many ways we could look at these different parables, because again, these stories are given to us in a way that will hit each one of our consciousnesses in a different way.
It definitely brings growth, you know, but when it comes to the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, one thing I learned when I still learn Vedic astrology, because it's like a lifetime of study, there is one line of teaching where the planets are considered to be all male, and everything that comes from those planets are considered to be all female. So without each having the other, they simply cannot be. So everything that we see on this planet Earth, everything that has sprung up, is the divine feminine. So we are living off of that. I just thought that was curious about the Vedic teachings about all the planets being male, because we look to the moon as being female, but there's all these different other lines of teaching that help us understand. But that helped me understand the masculine side of things and the feminine side of things and how they need to work together.
So this just came to me when we were starting to put this together, and I just felt like I wanted to include this there. This is the Moola Mantra, and it is one of the more beautiful ones. David Permal does a nice version of this. Om Satchidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatama Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha. And it is calling on, as you see here, the mantra evokes the living God, asking protection and freedom from all sorrow and suffering. It's a prayer that adores the great creator and liberator who, out of love and compassion, manifests to protect us in an earthly form. The Moola Mantra has given great peace and joy to people all over the world who have chanted it, or even just listened to it. It has the power to transform one's mind to a state of causeless love and limitless joy. The calmness of the mantra and what it can bring to us is to be experienced, not spoken about. And so, this is something I would hardly recommend. It is one of, I think, the more beautiful ones. And Hari Om Tat Sat is something that Deva Premal adds to it in her version. And Hari is referring to Vishnu, Om, again, the sound, the creative sound of the universe. Tat Sat means I am that. So it's recognizing that the creator is in us. And when we look at this again, breaking it down, we are calling on the highest energy of all that there is, the formless consciousness of the universe, pure love, bliss, and joy, the supreme creator who has incarnated in human form to help guide mankind, who comes to me in my heart and becomes my inner voice whenever I ask, the Divine Mother, the power aspect of creation together within, the Father of creation, which is unchangeable and permanent. I thank you and acknowledge the presence in my life and ask for your guidance at all times. Beautiful one.
Mm-hmm. It is very nice.
So I hope you guys got something from this. We look forward to your comments. Thanks for being part of this family. It is a blessing. Namaste.
Namaste.